Life's never felt so expensive, and most people are cautious about spending. But IKEA's always been the smart choice for creating beautiful homes on a budget. Right now, IKEA family members can save even more with an extra 5% in-store on eligible purchases. Visit IKEA-USA.com/family for more details. Offer valid starting September 1st, 2022. Limited to qualifying purchases. Exclusions apply. Not valid on services. Discount applied in-store only. Before tax, shipping, and handling. Cannot be combined with coupons. Start a journey, not a fad. Kick off your fitness journey with up to $500 off Peloton Bike, Bike Plus, or Tread packages. Choose the package that will take your training to the next level with accessories like our cycling shoes, heart rate band, non-slip grip dumbbells, and more. Join now and you'll see why 92% of households that start the year with Peloton are still active a year later. All access membership separate. Offer ends January 8th, 2023. Excludes Bike, Bike Plus, and Tread Basics. See additional terms at onepeloton.com.
Welcome to the Hypothalamic Amenorrhea podcast. I'm Danny Sheriff, your host, certified fertility awareness practitioner, functional nutrition counselor, and founder of the HA Society, and of course, an HA recovery coach who has walked where you currently are walking. This is the place to come if you care about getting your period regularly. This podcast aims to educate, inform, and keep you motivated on your period and HA recovery track. So let's dive in. But last thing, nothing on the show should be taken as medical advice, so please seek the advice of your physician. So over a year ago, I created something called the 7-Day HA Recovery Commitment Challenge, and I've been running it for over a year. It was this free email-based challenge, so lots of reading, but you would get an email every day for 7 days to help you overcome and tackle the different but important areas that you need to be checking off in order to get your period back. Now, over time, I have collected some really great feedback, and upon working with all of these wonderful, amazing women, really started to learn even more about what works and what doesn't. And so I'm excited to be introducing to you guys the updated version. It's called the 7-Day HA Recovery Kickoff, and it is totally designed to help you not just commit to the process and have all of your ducks in a row in terms of important factors that need to be tackled and issues that need to be overcome in order to get your period, but the whole thing is now based in video. So you can listen/watch, and every day for 7 days, we will tackle nutrition. There's actually 2 days of that because it's so big. We'll tackle lifestyle, we'll tackle exercise, your support network, your mindset game. Each video goes from anywhere between 12 minutes and 5 minutes, so it's not very long, but you'll get all of the most important areas and the best tips and strategies for how to implement them. Because I know that going through recovery is hard. There's always an area for each person that is a little bit difficult to execute on. And so the goal, or maybe a lot difficult. So the goal of this challenge is to help you have the awareness, the self-awareness, and the tools and strategies you need to overcome each of the different issues that AHA recovery faces for us. So get on it. It's great if you're at the very beginning of recovery, or if you're halfway through. I mean, we never know how far through we are until it's over, do we? But no matter where you're at, it can be a really good opportunity to check in and look for blind spots and areas where you might be dropping the ball in your nutrition, in your lifestyle, maybe it's your support network that's a problem. Maybe exercise is something that you are still struggling with making changes to. So check it out. Go to thehasociety.com/7-day-challenge, or the link will be on the website. So it may be in the show notes of this show. It may not be. Just go to thehasociety.com and you'll find it in the footer, or you'll find it in the pop-up that happens when you visit the page. And we will see you for day 1 of the challenge.
Hey guys, welcome back to the HA podcast. I'm excited to have Fara here. recovery story, everyone's favorite type of episode. I wanted to invite her onto the show because I think she has a very relatable story. I think that she was extremely level-headed and patient and methodical with everything that she did, and is just a good inspiration and role model, and just has a really good story to share. So welcome to the show, Fara.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So we are on the clock to get this episode done within the next 25 minutes, which is a really short period of time. So will you do me a favor and just kind of dive into like who you are and what happened? Like, what's your story?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm 30 years old. I'd say I've always been pretty active, like played sports in high school and stuff, but nothing like a elite athlete or anything like that. It was, at least in my head, just thought, oh, it's healthy. I exercise every day. I eat pretty well. My story really has a lot to do with the birth control pill too, because when I was about 15, my period started to get a little bit wonky, like kind of disappeared for a few months, and then I would get one and then it'd be gone again. And my OBGYN then was like, oh, just take the birth control pill. It'll fix it. And so I was put on the pill, not at that time for preventing pregnancy, but just to quote unquote, fix my period. But other than that, like before that, when I was 13, I got like my first normal cycle, and it was pretty regular for those first 2 years until I was 15. I think that's when I did become a little bit more active with high school sports. So really, I went from age 15 to 27 thinking I was totally fine, had no idea what HA even was. And then when I was 27, married, was kind of looking back and being like, wow, I've been on the pill for 12 years. And I know most doctors say it doesn't affect fertility at all. I'm not trying to get pregnant tomorrow, but probably want to try to get pregnant in the next handful of years. Maybe it's better if I just go off and am natural for a while. If my husband and I did get pregnant, not a big deal at that point. We'd been married for a few years already. So came off expecting my period just to come like it did for my sister who went off the pill a few years before I did. Kept waiting. 1 month passed, 2 months passed, 3 months passed, 6 months passed. And I was like, okay, now I think something might be a little wrong. So go back to the doctor and they're like, okay, well, let's do some blood work and see what's going on. Did the blood work. Everything came back again, quote unquote, normal. Obviously like a few things were on the lower side of normal, like estrogen and LH, but still in that normal range. So the doctors were like, hey, we're not really sure. Everything's normal. Doesn't look like PCOS or anything like that. I also got a transvaginal ultrasound just to check there. Didn't have anything wrong there. Did not have polycystic ovaries. So they said, well, we're ruling out PCOS. We're not really sure why you're not getting a period, but it's not a big deal. Let us know when you want to get pregnant. We'll put you on Clomid. Yep. That was the advice they gave me and said, okay, bye-bye.
So wild, isn't it? It's crazy. It's really
So
crazy.
then from there, I just started doing my own Googling, going down the Google rabbit hole, trying to figure out what's going on. And I did come across that book that everyone talks about by Nicola Rinaldi, No Period, Now What? And at first I was like, this can't be me because I'm not an elite athlete. Like I eat a normal diet. I don't have a history of an eating disorder. I just was in such disbelief that my lifestyle was too intense.
Like even in reading that book, there was a piece of you that was like, I still don't feel like I fit this.
Yeah, I think more and more as I got through the book, I was like, okay, maybe I could see that. Especially with like when I worked out, it was at 6 a.m. totally fasted and generally a HIIT workout. So some of that was like kind of written in the book too, of working out fasted is kind of like the worst thing you can do for scaring your period away. So I kind of gave in. I was like, okay, well, let me at least give this a shot and see if it fixes it. And honestly, I was really fortunate that I must have been kind of on the cusp already, because after about, I think it was like 7 or 8 weeks, all in, my period came back. So my all in was stopped all of my exercise. And I guess I should say for those like 12 years when I was on the pill, especially once I got out of high school, my workout routine was pretty much almost every morning, at least 5 days a week, a 6 a.m. workout, generally a HIIT workout or a run about like 4 or 5 miles. So to me, it didn't seem that crazy, but I think the timing of it and the fact that I really wasn't giving myself any rest days was probably a big factor for me.
Yeah. So I agree that you're like definitely in the moment, I remember there was a little bit for you of like, so how long should I try this before I go back to the doctor kind of thing? Like a little bit of skepticism. At no
Totally.
point were you like, this is definitely going to work for me.
100%. Yeah. Cause I feel like a lot of the stories out there, not all of them, there's definitely stories that are really similar to mine, but a lot in my head at least seemed more extreme than me. So, being a marathon runner or having a history of an eating disorder, things that like I just couldn't relate to. So I was like, I'm just living a healthy lifestyle. Like, why is my period not coming? My whole
And you
family.
did you identify as being particularly lean?
Not really. I mean, it's always in the normal BMI.
Yeah.
Definitely on the lower end of normal BMI.
Okay.
But again, for 12 years, right, when I was on the pill, that had always been my size, and it really hadn't changed much.
Okay. All right. So then, yeah, you did sort of do the things, right? Increase food, reduce exercise, and the cycle just kind of came back. How long do you remember? Like from when you made significant changes to when you got your period back, how long did that take?
So I'd say there was 2 times during my journey where I made significant changes. Phase 1 was like totally by myself. And the changes were cutting out the exercise and just eating more volume of things I already was eating. And it came back actually pretty quickly then. It was like 8 weeks, but it never came back consistently. It was like, okay, 45-day cycle, and then a really great, I thought, 30-day cycle, but then it would disappear for 2 months again. And then it would come back again after 1 month. And it was just, I always felt like I was on the very edge. And even when I started to introduce exercise back, I feel like I was stressed in the back of my head of like, this is going to do it. It's going to disappear again.
Yeah.
So I never felt like I had solved the problem.
Right. Okay. That was the first time. Then the second time, what was it that you feel like were that next phase of changes that you made that brought it back more consistently?
So the second time was about like 1.5 years, I think, after I initially gone off the pill and semi-fixed it on my own. And it really got started because at that point I was like, okay, now like I'm no longer wanting to get pregnant in a few years. I kind of want to get pregnant this year. And right, of course, the month that I had planned in my head, okay, we're going to stop preventing and start trying, period disappeared again. So I actually went to my doctor. They did some more blood work and they're like, well, you might have subclinical hypothyroidism. So for this reason, we think if we give you some thyroid meds, it might help your period. And we also just think it'll put your body in a better place to get pregnant. So they put me on some thyroid meds, which literally made me crazy. Like knock on wood, I've been fortunate where I haven't had too much anxiety in my life. This was the worst anxiety I've ever experienced. I had insomnia for like 7 weeks straight, couldn't sleep at all, just an anxious wreck. And that pushed me over the edge to be like, okay, I need like actually someone to help me. And I can't do this on my own anymore. And I don't really feel like the doctors are understanding and they want to just go the medicine route, which after this experience with the thyroid meds, I want to at least try naturally. So that's when I reached out to you and started our coaching sessions.
Right. Yeah. So I remember this too, when we first met, you're like, I just got off these thyroid meds. I think I feel better. I'm sleeping better. Like, let's start again. Okay, cool. And so this was still, like I mentioned, I remember speaking to you and you were like, I'm still not 100% sure. Like, I feel like, which I think is reasonable. Most people are holding on to a little bit of like fear or doubt that this is exactly what it is and that it could possibly be like so simple.
Right.
So we made some basic changes. Do you remember, or additions? Do you remember what those were?
Yeah. And I'll say, I think part of the reason why I still was so skeptical was because I felt like, well, I did what the book told me to do. Like I ate more, I cut out exercise, and the problem kind of got fixed, but it still didn't fully get fixed. So there must be something else wrong. But then with meeting with you, I'd say the biggest change that I made, because I was pretty much pescatarian for the last handful of years, was introducing a lot more animal protein. So having animal protein every day, all types, chicken, beef, everything. That then before I was pretty much having like maybe one piece of salmon a week. And that was about it in terms of animal protein. So that was like a massive change. And I'll say the pescatarianism for me, partly, of course, thinking about like the animals and trying not to do that much damage to other wildlife. But a lot of it was like, I felt like society just said, oh, the healthiest diet is plant-based. So that's kind of what I had in the back of my head. And then talking to you was very illuminating of like, oh, maybe that's not the case. And I still, again, was skeptical about it, but I was willing to give it a shot because it was a diet that I literally hadn't had for over a decade.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's definitely one of those ones where people are just like, what?
Yeah.
That's all you got?
Especially like fattier cuts of meat. Like
yeah,
I would never think to buy chicken thighs over chicken breasts. Like, why would I get the fattier cut of meat? Like that just never crossed my mind. So it was a complete shift. And I think because I had the motivation behind me of like, I want to get pregnant, I was a little bit more willing to do it than I would have been like a year or two before that. But yeah, I'm so thankful I did, because I truly believe the biggest thing that impacted me getting better cycles was the animal protein for my body.
Yeah. I love it. I love when it's something that is kind of easy, right?
Yeah.
It's just like nice and easy. So, but so you got your cycle back. I feel like it wasn't long, like maybe 2 months or
Yep.
Yeah, 2 months. Which is freaking awesome for it to just like come back, and then it came back the next month, right?
Yeah, exactly on time. And I will say too, so before I kind of could track ovulation just based on discharge and never did temping. When we started working together, I actually started temping. But even just thinking back to like my last patterns, my luteal phases, I think were around like 5-6 days, even when I got my cycle back by myself. When we started to work together, I think it started, the very first one, even I want to say was like 9 days, 8-9 days. And then the next one, I think was 12. And then the next one.
Yeah, you linearly progressed. You linearly it's still high because you're pregnant, right? Yes. How many weeks are you right now?
19.
How are you feeling?
Good. Knock on wood. Second trimester, like as everyone says, it's the glory days. So it's been good.
And how's the skin?
That improved a ton in second trimester. So yeah, another part of my story is I don't remember ever having acne, maybe a little bit when I was like 12 or 13. And then I went on the pill and literally didn't even think about acne or skin issues that whole time I was on the pill. And then I came off, and about 6 months later, like total teenage acne just breaking out all over, especially on my forehead, a little bit like on my chin area, but way more on my forehead, which is kind of weird because I feel like people think hormonal acne is generally like in the chin area.
Yeah. You definitely are one of the people that's made me want to keep looking into it and being like, most people are reporting some kind of skin challenge, but it was like particularly annoying for you, and you were just like, if this doesn't get resolved, I'm gonna find me some some pharmaceuticals, which is totally fair enough, but it definitely made me be like, man, this is a big deal for a lot of people, so let's find out about it. But it's very cool to see how like that pregnancy and that like rise in progesterone appears to be very linked for you, and you have a history of low progesterone that like you kind of have to work hard at. So hopefully just as you cloud. Hey everyone, before we jump into this episode, we have some very exciting news. January 10, the next cohort of the Restore program is here, and we have put some like rocket fuel on this program. We are so excited.
Yes, we are so pumped to bring you a program with weekly, yes, you heard that right, weekly live coaching. And this isn't just random, hey, what's kind of come to our mind, but this is very structured coaching sessions that we feel is vital to your recovery, meaning that we're going to get straight to the root that's holding you back.
Totally. We ran the very first version of this just at the endish of last year, and it went so well. We saw what worked, what didn't. We fine-tuned it, and the feedback was incredible. And I think it's to what you were saying, Ashley.
this weekly coaching, it's not just these group calls. It's where we do food reviews for every single person. You'll have 3 food reviews so we can review your diary and give you actual feedback on exactly what you are eating as you move through the program to help make sure you're moving forward, as well as exercise reviews and any kind of advice that you need around that kind of thing. And the coolest part, which we didn't do last time and we're so excited to be adding in, is there will be email and one-on-one call check-in points as well for each client.
Basically meaning that you're going to have the structure of how to move forward and the support all in one. It's literally the best coaching package you're going to come across. Like, I was joking with Danny, but this might be the greatest bundle in the world. Like, we are bundling all of our services to be the most effective course you could go through and get your period back.
I think that's a really great way to put it, right? We've taken like the elements of one-on-one coaching that we do that's so effective, and the elements of our community, the HA Society, put it together in one and been like, okay, here's the community aspect. We're going to do these live coaching sessions, but we have developed like an actual syllabus for all of it that we know through all of our experience with all of these clients. We know that these are the fundamental things you need to know, right? And so we've put that in a class with a group and brought one-on-one coaching in to help make sure you're getting the individualization that is extremely important for each person. And it's amazing. Like, it is literally the best bundle, the best bundle in the entire world.
Yes.
So we don't want to keep you from the episode much longer, but we want to prepare you. January 10, the Restore program is opening. There is 100% a spot with your name on it. Because if you're done wasting time, like, right, Ashley, you should just get in these people's ear.
Basically, we don't want you wasting any more time on like something that can be fixed. You're not the unicorn. I hate to tell you that you're not the unicorn. And I don't want you to be the unicorn. Come get your hormones restored, your period restored. And if you want to have a baby, let's do that too. I mean, I can't exactly help you, like,
yeah, we're there.
the process, but we can get you ready. We can get you ready. You can get that too.
Yeah. It's like, what is getting your period back worth to you? Is it worth waiting any more? Is it worth continuing to DIY it? Which there's nothing wrong with that. But if you want to actually get your period back and have it be in the healthy parameters and work hard on your relationship with your body and with food, this program is 100% perfect for you. So come and get the help of both Ashley and myself, both of us, right?
Yes.
Taking you through this program along with everyone else that joins you. Come and do it. Check out thehasociety.com/restore. Sign up for the wait list. Get ready, because Restore is coming and 2023 is going to be your year.
Yes. Excited to see you there.
Nice. All right. On with the show. Get like more and more months and years under your belt of like eating in this way that you've kind of seen works best for your body, that you can just ride that wave, because there's definitely an element of it that's just like consistency, right? You don't have HA for years and then eat differently for 1 month and everything just like but
exactly. Yeah. And I think if I look at it totally objectively, like if someone else was having this challenge and they were telling me about it as a friend, I would be like, hey, your body just needs time. Like, you pretty much bypassed puberty the first time around because they put you on the pill when you were only 15. But when it's you yourself and you just have all these emotions tied to it, and my job is in sales, so I'm like in front of people all the time. So, and again, a problem that I didn't deal with from age 15 to 27. It's just a brand new one that cropped up. It's been a really big challenge. I keep trying to be patient and kind of know that so many other things have been fixed by kind of changing my lifestyle and diet, that I do truly believe this will eventually fix itself to beyond pregnancy. but just need to be patient.
Yeah. That's like definitely a word to that, like patience.
Yes.
It's like, I want this now, but patience. But overall, you know, your body was super responsive to the changes you made. And it responded quick, and it was nice and straightforward. And I wanted to have you on the show to share your story, because I truly think that the vast majority of cases can be resolved rather straightforward, right? Like, yes, it's difficult. Yes, it's belief system shattering, things like that.
Yes.
But it is relatively straightforward. And I've heard you be like, I still can't get over like this whole protein thing.
Yeah. And definitely, I feel like it's easy for me now, right? I feel so fortunate, accomplished like the goal. I'm pregnant now, but it's not all rainbows and butterflies through the journey at all. Obviously had to deal with the weight gain. And I think, again, you kind of hit on it. What was even, I think maybe I didn't notice the weight gain as much because I was dealing with the skin things. It's just like completely blew my mind. It was so challenging to cope with, but it is just kind of shattering everything you believed, and then change, no matter what it is really hard. So when you see like your favorite jeans not fitting the same way, like that's really hard. When you feel like I have to put on a ton of makeup when I never wore makeup on my skin to feel okay, that's really hard. So just all the changes that happen to your body and your belief system, I think that's the hardest thing to cope with. But I think remembering that this is science-based, like there's so many other girls like me who have gone through this and made it to the other side. And to your point, generally, like if you follow through, it is straightforward as long as you keep that patience in mind.
Yeah. And that consistency. Yeah, that's a big one. So looking back at the first time you looked into this, you're like, I don't really fit like this description. I feel like I'm not that active, and I don't have like, my relationship with food doesn't seem that strained. Now that you are over here on this side, how do you look back at that? Like, do you see it in a different light, or do you still have that same perspective?
I definitely see some tendencies that I had that I would say like weren't healthy. And in the mindset that I had before, maybe I actually thought it was healthy. Like I always had these rules in my head of like, oh, well, it's not lunchtime yet, so I shouldn't be eating, rather than just like eating when I'm hungry. Or feeling like if there was one day that I didn't exercise, like I just felt awful. Like I couldn't deal with it. It was just a bad day if I didn't have time to exercise that day. Now, like if I'm busy and don't work out, it's literally no big deal at all. It doesn't even faze me. And I think I also thought like my body was so fragile to change. Like, again, if I didn't work out every day, or if I ate bad food more than just on the weekend one week, that I would like balloon up and gain 20 pounds in 1 week. Like that's like the feeling that I had about my body. And maybe a little bit of it was the case because like I wasn't consistently just nourishing and taking care of myself. But now at the point that I am, and obviously like I'm pregnant, so I'm gaining weight from that respect. But I feel like the month before I got pregnant, I just felt like my body felt very stable. Like it didn't feel like it was on the edge of losing a period or on the edge of gaining a ton of weight or losing a ton of weight. It just felt stable, which was really nice.
Would you connect a lot of that with sort of like your headspace around, it's 11 o'clock, but I'm hungry, so I'm going to eat, like being able to do things like that? Would you connect like less anxiety around those things with?
Oh yeah, 100%. I think the more you do something, the less scary it becomes. And obviously, like, I think it's almost virtually impossible to get your period back without gaining some weight.
Yeah.
And I think while you're gaining the weight, it's really hard, but eventually you kind of hit your happy point, right? And then you're, again, not so fragile where you're fluctuating weight a ton. And once you get to that point and you realize like, I can have a snack late at night, or I can skip a workout and my body is not going to change on me. Like we're at homeostasis right now. And that was just really nice. Cause again, the hardest part for me was that change was constantly happening. So when change wasn't happening, it was kind of like, okay, we made it.
Yeah. I think that helped too with that. We weren't approaching your recovery from like, hey, how much food can you eat? It was more like, well, how can we remineralize? Like, what are you just missing? What do you need to include more of? And like you were saying, like becoming aware of those food rules that you do have. I was just chatting before our call with another client, and we were talking about how, like, I know it sounds woo-woo, but the brain knows your intentions behind your actions. It's like the hypothalamic amenorrhea, right? The hypothalamus is constantly surveying and taking in information around everything from like what's happening in your environment to what's coming into your body to what are you thinking about and what are your intentions. And that is what sends the instructions to the pituitary gland, and he is the guy who makes the hormones do their thing. So that when you consider there's a part of your brain that's just like literally surveying what's going on in your thoughts and your environment and around you, it makes sense that like your food rules and things are actually contributing to your body, like holding back on you a bit. But when you can be like, look, I'm hungry, it's 11 o'clock or it's super late at night and it feels weird to eat right now, but I'm just going to do it because these rules are arbitrary. You let that happen. You see it wasn't scary. You do it again. Like that is eventually sending the signal to your brain that you're looking for.
Right. I mean, I think my whole mindset on food has shifted. Like, I feel like before it was almost like less is more. And, you just need enough to get by and that's about it. And the whole country's getting obese. Like, I don't want to get obese. Like, that's kind of like how I thought about food. And now it's like food is fuel. Like, I want to get as many nutrients as possible, get lots of protein, fat, carbs, a mix of everything. Like, it's no longer thinking about, well, how many calories could this be? It's like, how nutritious is this? And how do I make it more nutritious?
That was good. Yeah, so true. So true. I love that.
And I should also make the point around food again. So about like a year and a half ago, I annually have to get my cholesterol checked just for like my insurance to get that discount. And my cholesterol was like 1 point, the bad cholesterol was 1 or 2 points higher than what they recommend. So the doctor was like, I mean, it's fine. Like, just watch your diet again, like saying like, watch your diet, don't eat fatty foods was his advice at the time. And now, then I met with you a couple months after that. So for a good, probably 6 months or maybe 7, before I took my blood work again for the next year's insurance, after eating a lot more fatty meat, like always getting fatty cuts of meat, eating lots of red meat, having eggs pretty much every day, my cholesterol is like smack dab in the middle of normal now.
Isn't that amazing that it's not actually got anything to do with eating less
that blew my mind. I thought that was insane.
Yes, y'all, it's actually the low estrogen that's causing the elevated, like the flagging cholesterol levels. Eat the food, nourish the body. The reproductive hormones will balance out and cholesterol will come back looking good and you'll get the discount that you need for your insurance. Yeah, that was exciting. Yeah, I love your story.
The other thing that self-corrected itself also is the thyroid. Like, I'm no longer subclinically hypothyroid either. That same set of blood work. Actually, no, it was a different set from a different doctor. My OB was like, well, in your file, it says you have subclinical hypothyroidism. So let's just check that to make sure we don't need to medicate while you're pregnant. That came back totally normal.
Nice. See, there's an alternate timeline where you went and did fertility treatment and needed to keep an eye on the cholesterol and needed to take thyroid medication. And this is scary. This timeline is a reality for a lot of people. So it's like food comes first, and I know we've talked too about how like you've had friends that you've kind of come across or noticed are struggling with certain things here or there, regardless if it's HA, you can kind of see how like it's all similar. It's just manifesting in different ways. And it's like, you can see in your friends and family how their behaviors might be impacting their health and fertility too. I know that's been a thing for you.
Yeah, I feel like once you know it, you just see it so much more. Again, that 12 years that I was on the pill, I feel like I just was up girl things. And I've met 2 other friends just having moved to Denver about a year and a half ago that oh yeah, my period disappeared. My doctor fixed it by putting me on the pill, and they're still on the pill. So that's just like, they think the problem's fixed. And other people who are having trouble getting pregnant, and it kind of manifests itself differently. So we've talked about this. It's almost a little bit of a blessing when you have HA, because it's so black and white and clear that there's a problem. But there's people who are cycling normally every 30 days, but they're not falling pregnant. And I think a lot of it could be the same reasons that we get HA, same nourishing and too much exercise.
Yeah, the stress is just caused, like, or the lifestyle factors have just caused different issues, but there's still similar lifestyle factors in many ways. So true. And yes, HA is a blessing for a lot of people, like for everyone. It's a totally normal function of the body. It's not a disease state or anything like that. So like, that's a huge checkbox, and it's black and white. You don't have a cycle. So it's like, there's nothing, there's just like, there's no other direction you can go in.
Right.
Exactly. Right. Like, it just is. So you got lucky in the sense that you Googled and found the information you were looking for that like led you in that path. But yeah, you're just awesome, and you're just crushed it. And I love your story. And I love clients like you too. Just like,
well, I just feel so, because honestly, I felt like, oh, it's just so simple. I could fix this myself. But I think just having someone who's been through it and who can coach you through it and has more background on like the science of how you can change your diet to really improve it and customize it for you, and not just, hey, go eat more cake, like, because that's probably not going to do it for a lot of people. So I'm just so thankful that I found you through this podcast and got your help, because again, the alternate timeline, like, that was going to become my reality in like a few months.
Right. Yeah. This is so much cheaper, less invasive, and and fun. Well, thank you so much for sharing a story with a bunch of people. I hope that they like hear and connect with a lot of the things you said, right? Like, I didn't feel like I matched that description all that much. And like, that's just really helpful for a lot of people listening to just like see themselves in your story and know that it can be simple if you just like commit enough to the process. So thank you. We appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I hope you have a really great day, and please keep me updated about the baby. And I want to see the pictures of the baby. And when you need to chat about your postpartum period, if you ever do, you just shoot me an email.
Oh, I will be.
I got your back. All right. You have an amazing weekend, and we'll speak soon.
You too.
Thanks, Farah. Bye.
Thank you so much for listening today, guys. Please subscribe to the podcast, and if you could head to iTunes specifically and leave a rating or review, that would help so much, because it makes it easier for other people with HA who are Googling around to find the podcast really easily. So if you do that, you're doing a service to all of the women